My name's Simon Gluckman, my car club is Bedlam, and this is my 34 three-window. I originally got into hot rods back in England. I was living there, I've lived there since I was a kid, and the big thing for us was American Graffiti. When the movie came out, I think we were like 16, 17, and honestly it was a life-changing thing for all of us. All of my friends had old beat-up American cars, and it kind of progressed from there. My first car was an old Volvo PV544 that took all the bumpers off, it was raked up the back, and then it went on all American. I drove American cars pretty much from the age of 17 in England. In fact, when I moved here, which was 26 years ago, I actually brought with me a 55 Chevy convertible and a Harley. And since then, it's just gone on and on. The reason I originally came to America was directly because of the hot rod thing. California for me had always been the mecca. You know, I just knew right then that at some point we were going to move here. At the moment, I have a 33 Roadster that was built by Jimmy White at Circle City Hot Rods. Awesome car. I have a 51 Chevy Custom that was all customized in the late 50s. Super cool, real subtle customization stuff on it. And then basically when I got into this thing, I had to sell some cars to do it because it was kind of getting expensive. So I sold my 31 Model A and a 38 Ford Coupe as well. The story on this car is, again, kind of crazy. I was working on another car, another build, a 32.5 window, and a buddy of mine saw just the body on Instagram or eBay, and the body was done by a guy called Mark Codd, who is up in Idaho, who in my opinion he chops these things like no one else. I think he's just awesome. And I fell in love with it. Bought the body and thought I'd take as long as it took to collect all the parts for it. And then I got a phone call. This guy called Roy Forbes, he's a member of the Peckerheads up in Reno. His son contacted me and said that he had a complete rolling chassis, everything, you know, juice brakes, steering, everything, and offered it to me at a phenomenal price. And I jumped on it. As soon as I had that, we were pretty much ready to go. And Jay Dean, who runs Nostalgia Ranch down in Fallbrook, had been working on my other car, and we just put this in there instead, and he knocked this thing out. The original build was, it was 4 months, it was pretty quick, and there were some problems. Basically what happened was we put the thing together and realized that there was a problem with the rear end, so that had to be rebuilt. And then I bought a cheap engine of 8BA flathead for this thing, and as it goes when you buy cheap, within a few weeks of driving it, I'd thrashed the motor and realized that the car was pretty special and decided I really wanted something pretty fast for this thing, and ended up going to a guy called Bob McRae down in Mission Viejo, who has built these engines forever. And he basically built me an 8BA, but just competition stuff in it and fast. And the beauty of this thing now is, I drive this car 3 or 4 times a week, and it's beautiful on the road, but my favorite thing is racing at Vintage Nationals, RPM, and this thing hauls. It's really fun to drive. I'd say the biggest thing on this car, which is why I fell in love with it, is the aggressive chop. Obviously this car was done in the sort of early lake style race, cars. It takes some getting used to when you're driving this thing every day because of the chop on this thing. It's not the clearest, but you get used to it real quick, and it's surprisingly really easy car to drive. And that's what I originally loved about the thing. You know, the rest of it, you know, I wanted to keep it rough and simple like this, which is great. Don't have to worry about the paint, don't have to worry about any of that stuff. The car's got a T5 in it, which is great for freeway driving, and you know, it's a nice, easy driving. But this engine is, like I say, the RPMs last year was the first time that I got to race this thing, and I had no idea how it was going to do. But just thought, you know, I'll go into it, you know, gently and see. And the car killed it. The numbers on the car don't have any real significance. You know, they were just random numbers that I put on. I did it for the weekend of the racing and thought I'll just wash it straight off. But kind of, you know, got to like it, and you know, it's kind of been on there for a while now. My car club is Bedlam. We are definitely predominantly an LA car club, which I was the founder of. And me and a good buddy of mine, Chris Garcia, the Betty Hunter, you know, kind of nailed it down. It's something I've wanted to get going here for a long time. Back in England, I used to be a member of a club called the Smoke City Wheelers that, you know, for years we were involved in, but they were kind of better at drinking than they were at driving. And, you know, it was fun, but it was kind of a mishmash of cars. And after being here for a long time, you know, it's something I really wanted to do and didn't want to just get into one of the, you know, the big clubs. Loved the idea of a small club that was just friends, all into the same sort of thing. And the name came from a mental asylum that back in the Victorian days was the most barbaric place. And then in 1946, there was a horror movie made with Boris Karloff, which, you know, was that real sort of B-movie kind of stuff that I love. And it was just such an awesome image that we thought we'd take that as the logo of the club. And the club's small. At the moment, there are 6 of us. We're all into, like I say, the same stuff. You know, we just like to drive our cars, but you know, we just have fun. You know, just share a passion, and it's just good, easy fun.